Bam! We're live. Good morning, everyone. Jose Ramirez. Nope, no, not even close. Joseph, as my grandmother used to say. Joseph. You got to really pronounce the F. Good morning. It's been a while. The man's had me by the balls lately. The man. The man. Good to see you. Kyle, what's up, dude? Hey, an exercise company pushing drugs seems a bit counterintuitive. Oh, whatever. Drug schmugs. What about an exercise company pushing Jesus? Drugs for 500, Alex. Adam, gracias, Teresa. Oh, you're welcome. But my name's Sevon. Rich, on at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. That's correct. Come back later if you're here for Rich. Today we're going to talk about the border. Emma Lawson's out. I thought she was going to win the games this year. I think she's going to win the games every year. She's out. Did you guys see her post? You CrossFit. There's this CrossFitter named Emma Lawson. She's really good. Like crazy good. Like maybe the best. CrossFit has transformed my life in countless ways, providing me an outlet and a place to push myself, a supportive community, and helping me stay fit and healthy. It's been a huge part of my life for the past 7 years, and I still remember my first open I participated in at 13 years old. I wasn't old enough to register, but the camaraderie and hard work hooked me instantly. Oh, she follows the rules. This would have been my 7th year signing up for the open. That means she's only 20, but unfortunately, a nagging injury is going to prevent me from being able to give it my best effort without putting the rest of my season at risk. I know the right decision for me is to take the time off, take the time my body needs to heal. I want to wish the best of luck to everyone participating in this year's Open. For now, I'll be focusing on getting my back healthy and preparing for the upcoming WTF season and a few other exciting events ahead. All right. So if you want to watch Emma Lawson, you can see her in the Wilmore Ad Fitness League, but you will not see her at the CrossFit Games. Sevon, can we pray first? Yeah, sure. Om Yahweh. Prayer done. Okay. Jorge Ventura is coming on. He will be coming on at 7:10, I think. 7:11? 7:11. Yeah, 7:11 it is. You know, Andrew Hiller's at Mayhem now filming. I wonder if he's filming with Hatfield or Rich. Who's he filming with over there? Haley Adams? Gee? Maybe Luke Parker? Darren Hunsucker? You think Jake Lockhart's trying to convert Hiller? Teach him the ways? The ways of the Lord? So she's injured but doing WTF. Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. If for some reason you don't believe in God, I have a story for you. I had Jake Lockhart on here the other day. He's a man of the cloth. And we were talking and he said something. We were talking about masturbation and he said, "Why would you masturbate if you're married?" And I can't remember the answer I gave, so bear with me. I can't remember the answer I gave, but I think it was something like this. We travel. Um, we were traveling for 3 weeks and sharing beds with kids, and so it's hard to you got to sneak in your times and spots, and you know you gotta drop a load every 6 hours, and that's hard when you're on the road. And ever since that episode aired, my wife can't keep her hands off of me. And I think that's the Lord's, working. Jake blessed me with, sorry, every 4 hours, sorry. Sorry. Uh, yeah, and I was just like I just woke up this morning thinking, "Wow, I think the Lord works in mysterious ways." But that one's not that mysterious, that one makes sense. So I was just trying to think, well, there's no coincidences. Or it could just be we've been putting him to bed earlier at night. I don't know, but either way, Ari asked me. I guess me talking to my kids about God has really shook them because last night Ari's like, "Hey, I'm gonna pray that when I wake up in the morning, my Lego's built for me." We're having a whole revival in my house. Is that the word? Revival? Yeah. Did the kids wake up? How fun. Matt Souza was on Clinton Things, or as we affectionately call it Clinton Things yesterday. Great episode. I watched about 80% of it. I was in and out. I was trying to get the boys to tennis, it was great. He was great. They were great. If you don't listen to that podcast, Garrett and Colleen are awesome. Really, really, really thoughtful. And Souza said a lot of cool stuff. He's very articulate usually, but he was on another level yesterday. And I really enjoyed it. And it's weird, right? Because I talk to Souza every day, like I probably have 10 phone calls a day, 5 to 10 minutes each with Souza. And then to listen to him, you would think I'd have my fill and wouldn't watch a podcast he was on, but or at least not get anything from it. But I got tons from it. I love the podcast. Yeah, it's good. They're great. He was great. Was on point on so many topics, says Ernie Garza. Yeah, it was great. A lot of you have been DMing me, asking me about my back. That seems to be getting better. I told you guys, I sat up in bed. Today I'm going to test it out. I'm going to do some light deadlifts. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to do some really light deadlifts. I'm going to do some deadlifts at 135 today, and then I'm going to try some hang cleans just with the bar with 45 pounds. I'm going to warm up really good first, but it feels good. I slept 8 hours straight last night. That's pretty good for me. Not waking up in the middle of the night with back pain. So that's cool. I'm good. I feel good. Worst thing to do. I know. That's why I'm going to do it. Exactly. Sean Lenderman, I pulled 485 yesterday. My back muscles are so pissed off today. Oh, shut it. I know, but I have to test it out. I know. I have to test it out. Just going to test it out. And you know what, Barry? If I hurt myself, you can be like, I told you. No pee wake ups last night. Nope. And I drank a shitload of water before I went to bed. Slept like a rock. No interruptions last night. Went to bed at... When did I go to bed? I think I went to bed like at 9:55 p.m. And I woke up probably 5:55 a.m. Yesterday we learned that Colleen was a raging social justice warrior. Yeah, I think she's told me that a couple times. She's cool. I like the way she asks questions. Very disarming. Very disarming. Also, Jake Chapman, I've started seeing some graphics for Jake Chapman's podcast, which will be coming out very soon. He didn't name it what I thought he was going to name it. I thought he was going to name it The Jake Chapman Show. Maybe he'll still change, but I saw the name of the show. Pretty cool. Very cool, actually. The graphics are very European. Is Depeche Mode a European band? It reminds me of like I saw the graphics. It reminds me of some European stuff. You know what I mean? Like a little fruity. Like a little like stuck in the 70s. It's cool. It's very cool. It's got its own the Isle of Man show. I don't know what they're called, but you get paid in on YouTube. You get paid per view or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think you get paid per view. And then not only that, there's some other factors too. It's where the people live, where they were watching the show. And as I recall, because I remember whenever Guy would come on the show, those shows would make crazy amounts of money. Like you do a regular show and you might make $25 or something. And when Guy's on the show, it was making like $500. And I'm like, what's going on here? And it would be because you got paid so much money for Brazilian viewers, at least if you're living in the United States. And then I remember, this is years ago. You guys probably remember too. Remember when I was really high on Amy Kringle before she was anybody? Don't even think she could have made it to like quarterfinals. And it was not only because she's hot, but because she lived on the Isle of Man. And I thought, holy shit, can you imagine the numbers there? Because I saw that of all the places in the world, that's where you got paid the most money by YouTube, as I recall. My facts might be off just a tiny bit. So I'm very curious what's going to happen when Jake does a show from the Isle of Man. I wonder how many YouTube shows are done from the Isle of Man. This show makes money? I mean, kinda, yeah. I mean, more money than any other show in the space. I mean, you guys are pretty damn good to me. I'm able to keep doing it. I told you that one time I found $90,000 in my YouTube account. You don't know that story. It's too bad. That's a great story. All right. Jorge Ventura. Does everyone here know who he is? He's the premier border reporter in the United States. Lives in California. I think El Salvadorian young man. Dale Show makes $12,000 a month. I don't actually share the money with anyone. All the money comes to me, my platform. You come sell your wares here. I keep the money. It's kind of cool. That's why JR and Taylor live off of bread and butter. And I live off of ribeyes. Good morning, Judy. I saw a great story this morning on Instagram. I guess Jesse Waters brought it to the forefront. Fox News brought it to the forefront regarding the Obama Presidential Library. The Obama Presidential Library was supposed to cost $350 million and be done in 4 years. It's now 8 years, and the price has gone over $800 million. And I'll give you one guess why. I'll give you one guess why. Go ahead. Why has the Obama Library gone from a 4-year project to a 10-year project with costs going from $350 million to over $800 million? Laundering, close. You're warm. Fraud, very close. There you go, Bobby. There you go, Bobby. DEI. He's being sued for some sort of racial discrimination. Do you know at one time in 2022, they found a noose? You guys know what a noose is? It's that thing in the Westerns where they would hang the bad guys. It's got like the loop and then it's got those like rings around it. It's like I think it's called a slip knot. And like you pull one end and the hole gets tighter. You know? As a kid, I was fascinated by that. Knots are crazy cool. They found a noose. It's just a knot. It's a slip knot. They found a slip knot on the site of this construction site. And so they shut down the entire fucking building of this massive building and opened an investigation and then sent everyone to like DEI training. I swear to fucking God. Can you imagine if they would have found like a swastika painted somewhere, or they wouldn't have done any of that. Yeah, do anchors use nooses? You tie a slip knot around an anchor? I saw Slipknot at my first concert, Ozzy Fest. Yeah, is that a racist band? They all have to go to DEI training? Jesse Smollett tied that knot. Oh, is that what they found near him too? A slip knot? A noose? It's so crazy. Anyway, I'll get into more details of the story. I will pull this story up and rehash the whole story again. I don't know, either after Jorge gets off or in the next couple days. But there was a story at CrossFit Inc. that they hired someone. Allegedly, they hired a guy who was gay in a very senior position, and they basically hired him because he was gay. And he eventually sued the company because he felt like allegedly what I heard was he sued the company for discrimination. Now get your head wrapped around it. That's always going to happen. That's always going to happen. If you hire someone based on like a DEI hiring, they are eventually going to sue you because you're going to drop the ball somewhere and not give them special privileges because of whatever reason you hired them for. Caller, hi.
What's up?
And they sued, and so there's this all black contractor who's like, who, you know, has this massive contract for building the Obama library, and he sued them for some sort of racial discrimination. Caller, go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, sorry, I don't mean to get you off your politics stuff. I know you love the politics.
No, it's okay. You better pivot to Jesus, though.
Hey, I was going to talk to you about Jesus, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
But that was like my last thought. I was going to slip that in at the end, so it didn't feel like I was pushing it.
Okay. You can push.
But
Did you see I saved my kids already? Now I'm going to save my wife and my mom. I was practicing how I'm going to say it to my mom today.
How's she going to handle that?
I don't know. When I started talking to her about The Chosen, she flipped out on me. Liberals are very.
Hey, I started watching that.
Oh yeah.
I started watching it because you said it was good.
Yeah, it is good. It's cool. It's really cool. I'm telling you, anyone who's interested in leadership should watch that movie. It's like
I'm only like episode 3.
Yeah, it just screams epic leader. Did you cry at all yet?
Not gonna lie, I have not cried yet.
Oh, in the first 2 episodes,
I'm sure I will, because I'm a crier.
Oh, I cried in the first 2 episodes. I haven't really cried since. But in the first, when he changes Lilith to Mary, that rocked me. But I cried in the trailer of Free Willy. Like when he jumped,
I've seen that. Yeah.
I cried when I saw the trailer of Free Willy. Like, don't let it. It's not. You know what I mean? Like when he jumps out of the cage and gets into the ocean. I was like,
hey, I got teary-eyed watching. I got teary-eyed watching Hiller's video on Alexis.
Oh, you watched that 1 hour and 9 minutes? You did? You got, wow, that's impressive. Okay, you just sold me on. I've seen that, and my YouTube keeps demanding I watch that. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? 1 hour and 9 minutes.
It makes me want to love my wife more.
Oh, wow, dude. I love that. Barry McCockner wants to know if this caller is gay. Are you gay?
I don't think so. I have a wife and 2 kids.
Oh, you have a southern accent. You're not gay. Never mind. I'm sorry I even asked you that. Never mind. Strike that.
See?
All right.
Yeah, sorry. I'm from good old South Carolina.
All right.
But anyways, so I was calling to let you know, I've been in CrossFit for like 3 years, and I didn't go to like an actual affiliate, so I didn't know like the whole like CrossFit thing. It was just like, hey, this is a cool way to work out. But now, since I like follow y'all and all of the Sevon podcasts, because they're all under you, I actually signed up for the Open for the first time just because all of the athletes are like, hey, I'm out. So I'm like, hey, screw y'all. I'm going to support CrossFit and actually sign up this year.
Oh, that's really cool. Wait, how long have you been doing CrossFit?
Yeah. 3 years. But this year's my first year like actually like signing up.
And how long have you been listening to the podcast?
Since like 2023, like late 23.
Oh, okay. All right. It's kind of weird that, you know, if I reflect on it, it's kind of weird that the space has these podcasts.
Yeah, I think it's strange. Everybody thinks I'm weird that I listen to CrossFit podcasts.
Yeah. Do any of your non-CrossFit friends ever listen to this podcast with you?
No. Oh. Actually, I don't know of a single person that does listen to this podcast.
Oh, wow. So you have to just everything you hear on this podcast, you have to bottle up internally and just work through yourself. Because there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit. These shows are like full of all sorts of shit. It'll fill your brain up.
It is. Some stuff I'm like, heck yeah. And some stuff I'm like, all right, that's not for me. But, you know, I push through because I like to hear other perspectives.
I push through. That's like when you're a little kid and there's something on your plate and your mom's like, eat it. You're like, all right, I'm going to push through. I'll push through. I'm going to eat that, Mom.
It's all about the overall message. You can't worry about technicalities.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I don't care if you're in a red Ferrari or red Lamborghini. I get it. You got a red fast sports car. That's cool. I'm good. I'm good with it.
See, I vaccinated my kids, but I like your argument of not vaccinating, and now I feel like a retard for vaccinating my kids.
Well, hey, one step at a time. I'm going to tell you something crazy. Did you see what happened to Marston? Do you know who Marston Sawyer is? One of the Buttery Bros. Do you know who those guys are?
Oh yeah.
He just got a little heart issue, and I was really surprised. He put in the piece that the doctor thinks it could be from the vaccine. And then there's also someone very, very famous in the CrossFit space who recently one of their children has come down with an ailment. And I was Googling around about that ailment, and they said they got it. That ailment is exploding everywhere because of the vaccine. Did you get him the booster or just the vaccine?
No, not COVID. I'm talking about just like the regular.
Okay. You're okay. All of us got that shit. You're fine.
No, I'm not giving my kids the corona vaccine.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, then I'll stop lying to you. Good thing for that, dude. Holy shit. Shit.
But my wife's sister, she's like full blown like don't vaccinate your kids. But like she went through like the TikTok way, not like the actual like science way. She just like listens to TikTok people.
Yeah.
But the bad thing is she got the first shot, whatever that is, I don't remember. And now they think their kid has autism.
The first shot, like, before she stopped, she gave him like the first, I think it's probably like polio or HPV or something like that. She gave her kid the first one.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, yeah. And then she was like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. And then somehow the kid has autism.
What,
I don't know.
How old was the kid? Did the kid not have autism? And then it was like late set autism, like at 2 years old, it just stopped talking?
I mean, he's always been, well, he's still only like 2, but he has to like go to therapy because obviously he's like delayed and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're saying that he has all the symptoms of it. But I think it was because he was like real jaundice, however you say it, when he came out.
Yeah.
And then the doctor just didn't do anything about it. So he was like real yellow for like 4 or 5 months.
Oh, interesting.
So apparently it messes with like your liver and your brain and stuff. So I wonder if that was it. But he's a cool kid. He's just,
has the Jesus talk pushed you away from the show in the last couple of days?
No, I mean, I feel like, I mean, obviously some of y'all talk against Jesus and stuff like that, but I feel like for whatever reason, Jesus has definitely been a big prominent part of the show. And, I think it just takes everybody their own time.
Good. I'm glad you said that, because some people are like, one of my friends just called me. He's like, "Oh, I really like this Jesus trip you're on." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I've always been on the Jesus trip. What are you talking about? We're just having like Jesus week. Sometimes we have, games week. We're just in Jesus week.
There's worse things you could talk about for sure.
Yeah. Who's against Jesus? You said sometimes y'all speak against Jesus. What do you mean by that?
I mean, not really against Jesus, but like I know like Caleb has said like, I don't want to like put words in his mouth, but basically like, God's not real.
Okay.
Or
I've said that before too. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, in my opinion, there's something wrong with it. But I mean, like everyone has their own opinion, and that's okay. But I think, just like bad publicity, any publicity is good publicity. So, just by y'all talking about it, it's still bringing Jesus to the table.
David Weed says, what meds are the caller on? Are you on any medications?
Testosterone.
Oh, nice. All right.
Game changer for anybody who's thinking about getting on
it. How old are you?
32. And my testosterone was like 230.
Yeah.
And
it's double mine.
I just do like the regular dose.
And when you physically or mentally or both?
Both. So like whenever I got on it, like I was like, I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was like kind of like not happy. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't recover. I didn't have any energy. And I went to my doctor and she was like, you should get your testosterone checked. And I was like, listen, I do not have low testosterone. Like I'm horny all the time, whatever. And she's like, no, let's just get it checked just because of your other symptoms. I was like, whatever. And it was 230 and you're supposed to be at like 600. So she put me on it. My insurance pays for it. And like mentally, I'm way better, and physically, like I'm getting stronger. Obviously, my workouts are better, and it's just, I recommend it to everyone.
Wow. And do you take it with a needle, or do you have the the pellets in your hip, or?
No, I shoot it once a week. So I split it in half because they want you to do like 200 milligrams every other week. But from all the research I've done, they say like the more often you can do it, the better. So I split mine in half and I do one a week. So I'll do half a milliliter a week.
And your wife's okay with it?
Yeah, she won't stick me, but she's okay with it.
Yeah, okay. Because I think Gary Roberts got on it, and his wife was like, he just wants to fuck way too much.
Well, we do it like almost every day from the start, so it's no
cool.
different.
Oh yeah, you're 32. That's a good life. And you have kids, you said?
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old. She turns 4 next month, and then I have a 2-year-old son.
Have they ever walked in on you?
I don't know, actually. Maybe. I don't think so. But I remember when we first started dating and we were having sex, and her cat came up and started licking my foot. It was weird.
I had a buddy who told me he won't have sex with his wife with his dog in the room. I told him.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird, right? I bet you half the listeners to the show won't have sex with their dog in the room. Yeah, they take their dog out of the room when they have sex.
They probably also think that you're misogynist and stuff like that too. So
I don't know if the husband does, but the wife for sure thinks I am.
That's right.
Yeah.
But all the people leaving CrossFit, I feel like they were all on the way out anyway. Like I thought Chandler Smith's like retired like 6 times now.
Yeah, me too.
And Pat Vellner's been around since I was born. So I mean, I've always liked Pat, but
me too.
I mean, the writing was on the wall. He was leaving anyway.
Me too. I think you know I think that all my experiences with those people, like personally, have been nothing but great. And every time Pat's been on the show, he's been a fantastic guest. And Chandler, I think, is an upstanding human being who, we had I said something about him on one of the games podcast shows, and he came and confronted me about it. And the way he did it was just a class act. I just think I think they're just deeply confused.
I don't know. My thing is I think it was John and Tyler were talking about how they don't like that they're posting, but like that's the only way that they make their money. So they have to get views. So that's why they're doing it. But in reality, I think they're just leaving because it's a good time to get out when they're getting out anyway.
How about this dude though? Like I side with them on that. I don't have an issue with them posting about it in this regard. Kind of the same way you're just finding it, but me a little different. It's like, hey, Pat's been doing CrossFit for so long, and he's been doing the Open for so long. Why wouldn't he post? Like, if he wasn't doing the Open and didn't say anything, we would probably be like, hey, why isn't he telling us why?
They'd say he was soft for not saying something.
Yeah, so like I'm okay with it's weird. I'm okay with them posting about it. I'm also okay with them getting ass pounded for it. I'm okay with like, hey, that's the world we're in. And hey, the thing about being quote unquote famous, like regardless if it's little famous, big famous, is the definition of famous to me is that everyone can and will have an opinion about you. That's it. And
good opinions, bad opinions, that's just what you do when you're famous.
Yeah, you're in the public eye. If you're going to have 100,000 followers, if you're going to be on Instagram with even 10 followers, the whole reason why you're on there is to be judged. Like I make posts to be judged. And my goal is to make people laugh. Oh, my guest is here.
Oh, all right. Well, peace out.
All right. Thanks for helping me get along on the show till Jorge got here.
All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. How are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing, sir? Sorry about that, man. It's just been a crazy, hectic schedule with everything with the border. But glad to be back.
Yeah, I like it better this way. I like it better this way. And I totally am always flexible with you coming on, and I love it because you're so damn busy. It's awesome.
How you doing, man? Good to talk to you again, brother.
I'm great. Where are you headed? Are you driving to an airport or something?
No, so we were we went back to San Diego for the day, working on a story there. Back in South Texas now, so I'm in San Antonio, but likely later we'll be headed to the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. So I just spoke with Texas state authorities, and they say because President Trump is cracking down on the border, there's been that stronger enforcement, illegal crossings have been down, that the smuggling by cartels could actually now ramp up. There's a lot of migrants still in Mexico who obviously they made their journey. Many of them were actually going to enter legally through the CBP One app that was launched under the Biden administration, where migrants could schedule an asylum appointment and then enter through a legal port of entry. Trump ended that on day one. So many migrants, because of their desperation, some are now returning home. Some are going to stay in Mexico and then try to get a work permit, but others are likely going to turn to smugglers and then now try to enter the country, obviously illegally, but now looking to evade Border Patrol, where under Biden, those same migrants would want to turn themselves into Border Patrol agents. So it's really a lot of new developments here on the border, and we might be heading to now an area where authorities are trying to see that those smuggling attempts kind of ramp up in that Rio Grande Valley in Texas.
So tactics, as the rules change for coming across, before it was like, I'm here, take me. Now it's not like that. So tactics of coming in, the people who are still committed to crossing the border are finding other ways.
Exactly. So really quick, so for your viewers, so under the Biden administration, they had the catch and release policy, meaning that if you are a migrant and you crossed illegally, as long as you could reach American soil and then, basically turn yourself into Border Patrol agents, likely you would be processed. And between the average was like around 72 hours, you would then be paroled into the country. So you would be paroled into the country, you'd be given a court date. Now, in the beginning, when Trump first entered, when I was interviewing migrants, they would have court dates, within 6 months to a year. But because so many migrants entered illegally by the tail end of it, so around 2023, when the system was just completely overwhelmed, we started encountering migrants. And I remember I said this on your show previous times. I started encountering migrants that didn't have court dates until 2028 till 2029. So I mean, it was being pushed back. Trump has ended the catch and release. So if you enter illegally, you would not be paroled into the country. You'll be detained, and likely now under the Trump administration, you're being put in what they call removal proceedings. So now you are set for deportation. So that catch and release policy has completely been done away with. That really led to the millions of migrant encounters that we saw under the Biden administration.
What happens to those people, Jorge? Like, if you had a court case under Biden, are those still being observed as legitimate? Like, are those people still have those court dates?
So this is things where things get tricky legally. So speaking with sources and immigration attorneys, what they've said is that if a migrant enters illegally and then he's given what they call, normally they get what is called an NTA. So it's a notice to appear. So this is just an example. Someone could cross in illegally through El Paso. Likely we were running into Venezuelans a lot in El Paso. Let's say they had a court date for 2027, a notice to appear for 2027. That court date, technically, those papers technically give that migrant legal status up to that court date. Now, under the Trump administration, we're still trying to find out if those migrants will be set for deportation, but technically, they are now legal. Now, what was interesting during that the Biden administration was the New York City, Eric Adams at that time was getting so overwhelmed with the amount of Venezuelans arriving to New York. Obviously, they didn't have court date for years. They didn't have legal status to work. So that's where you saw a lot of Democratic governors and even mayors saying, look, we are a sanctuary city. We want to help out migrants, but we can't just let folks be here without years, with years until a court date and then not being able to work. So a lot of these folks are obviously making, money under the table, Uber and stuff like that. So the systems have just been completely overwhelmed. And I'm really curious now, just finding out how they'll work that out. Obviously, there's a big backlog, and now they're working on the mass deportation. So this immigration story, there's so many new developments, but in the terms of just illegal crossings, to start from there, they have completely plummeted. We just left an area in Eagle Pass in Del Rio. That was an area that under Biden, some days saw thousands of migrants enter illegally. This is something I've witnessed firsthand many, many times. That same area now is averaging less than 50 migrant encounters per day. I mean, that to me is incredible, because I was so used to where you hit the ground in Eagle Pass, you could see a group of 50 migrants really within the first 30 minutes, right? You could see them crossing the Rio Grande. Now, it's extremely rare to see a migrant. So I was just there from like Saturday to Tuesday, and I didn't even see a single migrant crossing illegally. So really, that story there on the border is really changing pretty rapidly, I would say.
So these stories where you've shown us footage of thousands of people lined up, or where you're just standing there and there's a line going on forever, and you're asking people where they're from. You're saying those places are like just back to just desert, quiet desert land again.
Absolute ghost town. And from my perspective as a border reporter, I thought it would take maybe 3 months for us to see the crossings really go down, because you have to see how smugglers adapt in Mexico. You also have to, at the end of the day, these migrants risk their whole lives to come to the U.S. They're not just gonna give up because of a policy change. But to see just how dramatic the illegal crossings have gone down, it was alarming. I believe it was a couple of days ago, Borzar Tom Homan even put out a tweet, and he said, in the last 24 hours, we only have had 228 migrant encounters for the entire southern border. I mean, normally you could see 200 people, like I said, in the first hour in a single group. So just to see how dramatic the crossings have gone down has been alarming. Especially, Eagle Pass was an area that was seeing thousands. If your viewers remember Del Rio, that city of Del Rio, back in 2021, Del Rio was a city that saw the 17,000 Haitians under the bridge. Remember just those viral images of, I mean, it was literally like a city under the bridge. And now to see it under 50 is really quite incredible. Like I said, I was just there in Eagle Pass in Del Rio for 4 full days. I didn't even see a single body cross illegally, which is, like I said, it's still shocking. I'm still, even myself, trying to process everything.
Why aren't they? So are they, if someone did cross, would they shoot you, or do they just grab you and put you in jail? Like, what's the deterrent? Why do people, I know you said before you would be caught, and if you were on soil, and when we even saw the Border Patrol helping people cross rivers, we used to see that, or just walk up and turn themselves in. So what happens now if there's an encounter? What theoretically, what happens now under Trump?
So now, if you cross illegally, what's going to happen is you would be, obviously you would be detained by Border Patrol, and now you're taken immediately to a processing center, but you are now set for removal proceedings, meaning that Border Patrol is now working to get you on a deportation flight as fast as you can.
Do they
So
handcuff you? If they grab you, do they handcuff you? Do they treat you like a criminal? Like,
from what we're seeing now, yes. And now when migrants are encountered at the southern border, they don't like instantly put them in handcuffs. They'll be processed, they'll be put on a bus, but they'll be taken to a process center where they are now detained, and then now they're basically being put for removal proceedings for deportation. The other part of the story too is that Trump reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy, which I thought also played a big role when it comes to deterring migrants. So if you're a migrant, let's say from Cuba, now the thinking is, why would I risk my life to, be placed in the hands of multiple smugglers? Traveling through Mexico is extremely dangerous for migrants. Basically, that is probably the most dangerous part, because you're dealing with cartels, you're dealing with smugglers, you're also dealing with corrupt Mexican law enforcement. And instead of just crossing illegally and then being paroled into the United States, where then your court date is here, but you're also paroled inside the United States, now you could cross illegally and be immediately returned to Mexico. And American officials essentially tell you, okay, we'll give you a court date, but you have to now remain in Mexico until that court date. So for many migrants, they would say, well, I don't want to live in a dangerous Mexican border town where now I'm more vulnerable to cartels and smugglers. We'll just return home, or we just won't even make the journey at all. So I think the Remain in Mexico policy has also played a big role when it comes to deterring migrants from making that journey and crossing illegally.
Jorge, we have an illegal immigrant in the chat. How do we report him to you?
I believe you got to call ICE, man. They got to figure that out for you. That's funny.
Jorge, I saw a story that during the Biden administration, there were two examples of flights of migrants that Biden sent home, and there were actual riots on the planes. They sounded very, very scary. The people realized that that the flight was going back to their home country, and the people rioted. They tore up the whole inside of the plane, and the pilots were terrified for their life. So that kind of concerns me. When they send these guys back, are they being handcuffed on the planes? Are they tied down?
Yes, and one kind of big thing when it comes to even social media is you could see that the White House and this administration, like, as much as policy is important, right? Like cracking down on the border, executive orders and stuff, the messaging is also important as well. So you are seeing this, like the White House, for example. Now, if you go to their social media, they are now promoting videos where migrants are now being boarded on military flights for deportation. They're now showing migrants being detained. They're broadcasting the ICE operations here in the United States. I believe, like it was just a couple of days ago, DHA Secretary Kristi Noem, she put out that video saying, "Hey, if you're in the United States illegally, it would be much better for you to now self-deport rather than us, apprehend and catch you." So we're seeing the White House also change their approach, and the messaging matters because you want that communicate. If you're trying to deter illegal immigration, you want that communication. So we're seeing more of that broadcast of, hey, we're putting you on military flights. If you're Venezuelan, there's a good chance that you also might be sent to now Guantanamo Bay and be deported there. So it's really fascinating just watching that change where, under the Biden administration, they were not actively promoting that. Now towards the end, because illegal immigration really started to hinder the Democrats and it was going to play a massive role in the election, you started to see them being more aggressive when it came to that part. But the Trump administration has really, you could really just tell just from the social media how much they want that messaging out there, and just the videos and everything of migrants being deported, going on military flights. They're being much more aggressive about that because they really want that message to now hit those migrants that are still making the journey, or those who are now in Mexico saying, well, what do we do now?
Do you think Homan's the right guy for the job? Are you liking what you're seeing?
In terms of, like I said, now from a reporter perspective, I'm not going to have like an opinion whether I like or dislike Homan. In terms of the Trump, what's interesting with this administration is Trump has, with the officials that he's elected to help him out, like Stephen Miller, is everyone is in line. Everyone has that Trump message, which I think in the first administration he really learned, where some of the officials that he picked didn't really align with his message. Some of the messaging would be different. Holman is on the same tune as Trump. They're marching to the same beat of the drum. I was here in Texas back in November, so just this past November, basically the month of the election, and Tom Homan visited here in South Texas. We're kind of close where we are. He went to Eagle Pass directly, and I was there for that. Holman gave a lot of credit to the state of Texas. He felt that Texas launched Operation Lone Star, for folks who don't know. So that's Texas troopers, Texas National Guard were like deployed to the southern border. They actively played a role in blocking and deterring migrants. They were placing a lot of the razor wire and barriers. And Tom Homan really praised Texas. He said, hey, I want Texas to be the model when it comes to border security, when it comes to mass deportations. So him and Abbott were also really in line on that same messaging. So you could really tell that the messaging has really been all the same. Everyone is in tune, right? Mass deportations, reinstating those laws where if you cross illegally, you're put into removal proceedings. Catch and release is over. Increasing the ICE rate. So all of that has really been in line. And when we were here in November, my big takeaway at that time was you could really tell the morale with Texas troopers and law enforcement, border patrol agents really changed. The morale started to change. You could really see for the first time agents say, hey, we have someone that has our back in the office. I spoke with an official at Texas DPS, and I said, hey, what's the feeling now with Texas state troopers? And he said, really for the first time ever, we now have a commander-in-chief that has our back, that we're now in the same mission. I remember I was speaking with one trooper during the Biden administration, and he said, look, Jorge, the big thing right now is that state of Texas and then the U.S. government, in terms of border security, we're on dual missions. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He said, Texas is playing the role of deterring, enforcement, and really blocking migrants from reaching American soil, where border patrol agents at that time were doing catch and release. And I remember one border patrol agent, and I've said this on your show many times because it was still like one of the quotes I always remember is border patrol agent really telling me, said, Jorge, for the first time ever, we feel like Uber drivers. We're no longer doing what it is called border enforcement. And I said, what do you mean by that? He's like, now I spend my shift transporting groups of migrants who've entered illegally, really just back and forth. From processing center, and then from the areas where they cross illegally. So now you can really see the morale change, and like I said, the messaging has really been on point in terms of they're all on the same message when it comes to border security, mass deportations. Really, no one is offbeat, and I think that so far has kind of been my biggest takeaway so far. Right, we're so really early into this Trump 2.0 administration.
So rather than me asking you the question, is it good or bad? Let me rephrase it. What I'm hearing from you is Trump's mission is being very effective, whether you like it or not. It's effective. It's a unified team. Border crossings have diminished, and morale is high.
Exactly, and the new Border Patrol chief that Trump did appoint, Michael Banks, he the previous couple years he was the Texas border czar. So Greg Abbott personally appointed Michael Banks, who has tons of years as experience on border security as an agent. So Michael Banks really took Texas to that other level with Operation Lone Star. They were really aggressive, getting buoys in the water, running operations of Texas National Guard, Texas military, and Texas DPS. So even here in Texas, those agencies were all on the same beat, all in the same tune. And under the Trump administration, he immediately appoints Michael Banks. So the messaging and like I said, everyone is on tune when it comes to illegal immigration. I believe Michael Banks recently also put out a statement that illegal crossings already from the same time last year are already down 94%, which is, like I said, it's just kind of astonishing of just how fast the story on the border has changed.
Do you know by any chance roughly how many people have been lifted off the streets and headed back to other countries?
I believe that I know we're still working on trying to get the total numbers, but one thing is clear is that President Trump himself has not been satisfied with the recent ICE arrest. He really wants those numbers to go up. Now, speaking with ICE agents and sources, there's a lot of difficulty, right, to a mass deportation plan. Is do facilities have enough beds? Is local law enforcement going to cooperate? Do local jails also have enough space? Because Trump has put a priority on what they call high-profile illegal immigrants, like immigrants with criminal history and criminal records, there's not enough of those individuals to reach Trump's mass deportation plan. So what ICE sources are telling me is that what you're now seeing is ICE agents will now target an area, right, with the colony's targeted enforcement. So let's say they go to Aurora, Colorado, which has been in a hot spot for the Train That Agua gang members, TDA gang members from Venezuela. They'll go after those individuals, but if they run into an apartment building and then find other folks who are also undocumented, they fall under what they call collateral damage arrests. So you're now seeing those collateral arrests where migrants who they are undocumented, they are here illegally, but they don't have any criminal history, are now also being arrested and are now being also deported. So according to ICE agents, they just say, hey, look, to reach Trump's numbers, for him to be satisfied as president on his mass deportation plan, there's just not enough individuals who are considered high-profile arrests. He says, so now we're under, we're essentially now arresting folks who are here undocumented under collateral arrest. All this is just coming so we could reach those numbers. So that's kind of been an interesting kind of movement as well, as ICE is saying, hey, look, these operations are costly. They're really expensive to carry out. They're also obviously complicated. The other issue now that ICE is running into is the leaks. So if you guys remember, before Trump took office, I believe the Washington Post had the story where they already put it out. They said, hey, first week of Trump administration, massive raid in Sephora, Chicago. That was leaked. So obviously, if you're an illegal or if you're a high-profile arrest, gang member trained that out, you read that or that news gets to you, likely you're not going to be Chicago that first week. So we're already starting to see leaks of operations. I know there was a recent operation in Aurora, Colorado, where the plan originally was to make over 100 arrests of trained that out with gang members. That operation was leaked, and officials only came out with one trained that out with gang member arrest.
Wow.
LA Times also recently just had one up at the end of this month. Massive raid in Los Angeles. That was also leaked. So now you have the issue of leaks that, Holman and Kristi Noem are really trying to get on top of.
Is that illegal to leak that stuff? Obviously not by the papers because they get the information, but if people inside are caught leaking, will they be punished?
Now, according to Holman and Kristi Noem, yes, they're now running investigations to see who was leaking. What I found interesting was I believe Kristi Noem put out a tweet and was blaming the FBI. So it seems like the leaks might be coming from the FBI, but obviously right now we want to wait for official confirmation. But Holman said that they're running investigations. Kristi Noem said they're running investigations. Kristi Noem so far, like I said, directly blamed the FBI. So I'm curious to see when they have these arrests, if they're going to make an arrest, or I know they're running official investigations to find out more about who is leaking this information, and why also? Do they, they have these leaks out there? I'm kind of interested as well.
Hey, any fatalities yet? Any illegals or been killed, or any enforcement agents killed?
Not that in terms of migrants, not that we know so far. What I could say right now is the tensions between cartel and organized crime on the border and border patrol agents has really risen. And what I mean by that is, it was about 2 weeks ago. I got a border patrol through one of my sources. I got a leaked memo, and when I got this memo, it was an intelligence unit within border patrol. They gathered information that there was going to be an organized criminal group in Matamoros, Mexico. Now in that memo, they don't directly name the cartel, but the cartel that controls Matamoros is Cartel del Golfo, which is the Gulf cartel. That an organized criminal group was planning to shoot at border patrol agents. The other kind of alarming part of that memo was not only were they planning to shoot at border patrol agents on the border, but that they were going to plan to make it seem as the Mexican government actually did it. So there was this kind of corrupt conspiracy false flag in that memo. So we got that memo 2 weeks ago. Before that, News Nation also obtained a memo where cartels in Mexico have now been given the green light to use those new weaponized drones that they've been using to drop bombs. Those drones have really been used. They've used them against each other. So we're seeing that a lot in Sinaloa right now between the faction of El Chapo's Los Chapitos and then El Mayo Zambaras, Los Mayos. So they've been using those drone wars against each other. Those drones are also used against Mexican law enforcement. But we recently obtained a memo too that said that they have been given the green light to use them against border patrol agents. So that all that is really new. And like I said, we got that new memo a couple of weeks ago where there was an organized group planning to attack border patrol agents on the ground. About 3 weeks ago, there was an American hiker in the Jacumba Hot Springs area. This is an area in California. This is about 60 miles out of San Diego proper. There was an American hiker that was hiking in those mountains, and he was shot by suspected cartel members. I mean, that's really rare when you see them actually shooting at American citizens because they really don't want to draw that law enforcement presence to those areas. Also, I want to mention this.
I think I saw that he was shot twice, right?
Shot twice, and border patrol agents had to send a special unit with a helicopter to airlift that man to save his life. I was also recently, this just happened, is we were on the way to McAllen, Texas for a story, and I was on X, and the news broke out that suspected cartel members from the Mexican state of Tamaulipas shot at U.S. Border Patrol agents. And so as soon as that news broke, we headed right to Fronton, Texas, and no one was hit on either side, but Border Patrol agents did return fire. And when we arrived, there was still a massive investigation being conducted there. So you could really see those tensions rising between those criminal groups, almost being more bold, more time than ever, at least that I can remember covering the border, where they have now been more aggressive towards Border Patrol agents. And obviously, President Trump just recently designated Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We just had that story where CIA was flying drones over Mexico. So that tension is building up. And according to my sources in Mexico, they see cartels are feeling that pressure from Mexican officials now.
What are the implications with the cartels being called terrorist groups? Are we gonna is the U.S. gonna bring the war to them?
So by designating them as terrorist organizations, it makes military action and military intervention for President Trump much of an easier process. So I was speaking with some law enforcement sources, lawmaker sources in Washington, D.C., who says, Jorge, if President Trump chooses to airstrike, let's say, the Sinaloa cartel, because they're a foreign terrorist organization, President Trump doesn't need to go to Congress for approval. This is something that they could just immediately take. Now it's easier for the administration to seize assets and seizures from Mexican cartel members, but also just any individuals here in the U.S. that might be working with those groups. It's easier now to make arrests. Also unleashing like domestic terrorism charges. All that stuff has just become much quicker and easier. The amount of intelligence that they can now gather on these groups, because they are now foreign terrorist organizations. You don't always have to wait now for warrants and go through the courts. You could just go direct to action. And I thought the part that was most important, at least in this story, is that Trump would not need to go to Congress for approval. So, for instance, if they were looking to airstrike the Sinaloa cartel, if they weren't technically a foreign terrorist organization, they could go to Congress, and Congress says, we don't approve this. This is Mexican sovereignty. We don't want to conduct an airstrike on foreign soil in Mexico. That no longer is needed. They could just go, hey, we want to take military action. We can. This is a terrorist organization. We can now do that.
What about, sorry to make it sound so Hollywood, but what if on the border they find out that there's a cartel working on the border? Could they deploy special forces like Delta Force or the SEALs down there to just go in there and kill them?
They, not to make it sound like a movie, but at the end of the day, they can. The big thing now is, how does that look like? U.S. Special Forces on Mexican soil fighting a criminal group. Before Trump took office, I would say it was less likely to see some type of covert mission in Mexico conducted by U.S. Special Forces. This is all just my opinion now.
Right.
Now I think it's likely. And the reason my opinion changes because of the recent spying by American planes, of those drones, of the CIA. It seems like we might be headed there. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he was also asked about military intervention in Mexico, and he even told reporters, he says, look, I don't want to get in front of President Trump, but all options are on the table. For folks who don't remember, back in June, the United States did run a covert mission in the arresting of one of the head kingpins, El Mayo Zambada. They ran a covert
Mexico?
mission.
We ran it in Mexico?
Yes, I don't know if you want to Google El Mayo arrest and pull that article up, but that was a covert mission done by the United States. I remember when they conducted. First of all, it was a massive story, so we were all shocked by it, just because it just caught everyone off guard. El Mayo's arrest, and United States basically conducted a covert mission to arrest El Mayo in Mexico. And according to Mexican officials, they did a press conference and were like, we had no idea United States conducted this operation until about 48 hours after they got a call from U.S. Embassy, essentially alerting them that the arrest was made. So we have already seen a covert mission done by the United States. So it's, could we see one again? Like I said, heading into the election, I was like, it's probably less likely that we will see one. Now my opinion has changed, where I think it is likely we will see a covert mission in Mexico.
So they went into Mexico and grabbed a dude.
Yes. El Mayo Zambada, who now is likely going to cooperate with U.S. government. He's going to give away a lot of secrets, maybe on them paying, Mexican government officials when it comes to this cartel story. Seven, I do want to say, and I really, really apologize, bro, is I have another live report coming up. Is there?
Let me ask you. How many minutes do you have? Do I have time for one more question?
I got like 60 seconds.
Okay.
Let me join you next week, brother. Let me join you.
Okay. Yeah. I want to ask you about Sheriff Bianco, but real quick, are you a religious man?
Yes.
You are a religious man. Are you Christian, man?
Raised Catholic. Now I'm not
Raised
a guy
Catholic.
that you'll see on the church on the Sundays, so I don't want to,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven? It was a topic that's been on the show for like a week, and I can't get my head wrapped around that he's the only way. But do you believe that?
Yes. My mom instilled that into me. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, if you text me anything, if you can help me understand that. Love you, buddy. You the man.
Okay.
Love you, buddy. Have a good one. All right. Ciao. Jorge Ventura.
Thank you, guys. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Nope. Love you. You the man. All right. Listen, dude, I'm taking a fucking poll. What a question to ask for 20 seconds. I mean, we got to know. Thank you, Clock. Appreciate it. Good call. Yeah, he's great, isn't he? We're so lucky. That's the thing. I gotta fish these guys out while they're tiny. Now he's like big time. You ever see his reporting now? 3 years ago when you saw him report, he could barely speak. Now he's like, when I see him on News Nation, I'm like, holy cow. We're like, any day could be the last day he ever comes on this show. And be like, have his reputation tarnished. All right, show's over. Mexican YouTube user. What's up? Look at your nice outfit. That's how my kids dress, minus the sunglasses. Oh, God. We have 100 wife beaters in the house. Mexico, green light berets to train Mexican soldiers as of yesterday. Oh, interesting. All right. All right, fine. I'm really excited for what Andrew Hiller is gonna bring back from Mayhem. Uh, I was texting with him really late last night, and I can't tell exactly what he's seen there, but whatever he's seen on the ground there has really got him fired up, like in a good way. I could tell sometimes he goes on these long shoots, and I can tell he's exhausted. But whatever he's seen on the ground there with Rich and the gang, the Mayhem gang, has got him like like, inspired, invigorated, like he's full of energy, I could tell just by the way he's texting. They always accuse me. They always state that I text like a little girl, like one line send, one line send, one line send. Like if I'm gonna send you a thought, every time I get to the end of like a sentence or a thought, I hit send and then I start typing again. And last night Hiller was doing that. It was great. I was like, oh, he's fired up. So I am very excited whatever content Andrew makes coming out of there. Sevon, you think about becoming a believer? Isn't that a weird way to word that? Think about that. Think. Hi, Ian. Good morning. Thinking about becoming a believer. Hey, so if believing is having a thought and then believing your thought, right? That's what it would be. That means that you made up what God is and then you decided to believe it. So that means if you believe you have false idols. You believe your own thoughts rather than believing in God. Essentially the way our English language is set up is you can't believe in God. Just by saying you believe in God or believing Jesus is the way, you're betraying yourself. Because you have to create the thought yourself, which is man-made, and then you're believing your own thought, which would mean that you made God in your own image instead of God making you in his image. And that's the part I'm really like, wow. I listened to some Wesley Huff last night, and it's the same. Granted, I didn't listen to a lot. I listened to about 30 minutes, but it's the same fucking thing over and over. All these people are trying to convince me that Jesus is real. I need zero convincing that Jesus is real. It's absolutely insane. So what if he's real? How does that? What the fuck? He was going off about how the Bible must be real because the names are the names of that day. And I'm like, dude, like I don't need any proof of that. How does believing his real make him the only way? And then they just skip to that. That Wesley Huff guy reminds me of Russell Berger so much. Do you guys know who that is? I guess he was on Joe Rogan. He was cool. He was cool. It's cool to hear him talk about God than a bunch of old stuffy haired dudes wearing like ties and shit. All right. What else is there? Oh shit. Wow. Wow. My wife just was telling me about a dream she had last night. That's crazy. I can't share it with you. I'd have to ask first. Rich Froning's coming on at 11 a.m. I hope. You never know. I mean, not because of Rich, but just the nature of the show. You never know. Sevon's name is only one T away from Sevon. WTF? Will Moore at Fitness League. You don't have to peak. You're not looking for the fittest, just an exhibition. Still getting paid. The CrossFit Games. Oh, you have to peak. Oh, in terms of your fitness. I see what you mean. I thought you meant like peak, like looking. Not certain of money and could get more hurt. I don't think she's lying. Oh, Emma Lawson. Wesley Hunt. Wesley something. West. There was a West guy. He looks like Russell Berger. Wes something. He was on Joe Joe Rogan, I guess. I watched a clip with him sitting at a round table last night. Someone sent me a fucking crazy video yesterday. I cried my eyes out. It was really good. I wonder if I can find it and you guys can watch it if you want to watch it. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I'll send you the link. It was the story of this guy named Barabbas. I guess he was getting executed the same day Jesus got killed. Oh, Wesley Huff, yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, if you want to, this is a great video. I've just put a YouTube link in the channel. If you want to, like, I mean, I'm not selling it well by saying I cried. Like, I felt good after I watched it, but I did cry. It's a pretty wild. It's a cool story. But like in a good way, cried. Like, wow, that's powerful shit. And the guy who talks is like, it's some black dude. Only black dudes and old dudes and British dudes should read Bible shit. No one else. Like, I don't want to hear really anyone else read it. And men, only men. I haven't heard a good woman yet. It just is what it is. It's not because I'm misogynistic or sexist. I just haven't. And I don't really need young people reading either. Old black men, preferably. Then British dudes, then old white dudes. Like, if you're gonna like go on YouTube and make a you're gonna make a god, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna do some prayer shit stuff. Damn, I wanted to ask him about the guy running for governor of California. We got a sheriff running for governor of California, something like Chad Bianco or something. The Froning show is going to be good today. I got a bunch of good questions for him, good topics. I think it's going to be cool. And I watched his Mayhem just released a 9-minute video on the behind the scenes of his Leadville bike ride. It's a little jarring because I'll tell you this, it was hard to follow, but it didn't matter. I still liked it. Like, I couldn't, and it's called behind the scenes. It's kind of, it seems like it's just a bunch of leftover footage they didn't use from another video, but it was still really good. It was still really good. I liked it. All right. I present to you Mr. Barack Obama.
Into Obama's presidential library? Of course not. No one has. It's been in the works for 8 years, and it's only half done. But it is breaking records for the most days between leaving office and the grand opening. Nearly 3,000 days and counting. Originally, it was supposed to cost $350 million, but a couple minor setbacks, some snowy winters. The price tag is now over $800 million. The Bulls built Jordan the United Center for under $200 million.
Think about that. That I know times have changed. Look at, there's Lori Lightfoot. Do you remember that chick, that mayor of Chicago? Crazy. And then next to Obama was the crazy obese governor of Illinois. But just think about that, $200 million to build the stadium that Jordan played in, and they're already at $800 million, and Obama's library is not done.
Is Barack a bigger deal than Michael? We'll leave that debate for Stephen A. And speaking of Jordan, even he couldn't save Obama's pet project. He donated millions, along with, of course, George Soros, to help dig more dirt. But this library was doomed from the start because it was being built up with DEI.
Part of the reason we're here is because today is our big groundbreaking for the Presidential Center in Jackson Park. And, you know, it's going to be a 4-year project, a lot of work being done. And part of Michelle and my commitment was we want to make sure that the workforce on the center is representative of Chicago.
Obama demanded a third of the workforce to be minorities. No exceptions. But work didn't last for long. 3 years ago, a worker flagged a rope that looked like a noose, so Obama blew the whistle and sent everyone to anti-bias boot camp. Since then,
How wealthy do you have to be to find a noose somewhere and stop the project on a skyscraper, $800 million building? I mean, this is as batshit crazy as letting men play in women's sports. And then they sent all the employees to some sort of training. Yeah, anti-bias camp. Anti-bias camp is where they convince you that it's wrong if you see 3 young men walking towards you with their pants sagging and you cross the street with your wife and kids, that you were being biased and somehow it's wrong. As opposed to, yep, that's pretty smart, good discernment.
the site's in disrepair, cracked concrete as far as the eye can see. And now the DEI contractors are backstabbing Barack, suing him for $40 million for racial discrimination. Obama stepped on his own shovel. This is what happens when you make racial promises you can't keep. Lawsuits, cost overruns, and slowdowns. But versions of his DEI boondoggle have played out all over America for years. It's why we celebrate DEI Thursdays. Biden tied up his own projects in woke red tape. You want a new road in Maine? Good luck finding a diverse construction contractor. The state's 90% white. This is how you end up spending $8 billion on a half dozen charging stations. You got to be rational and flexible. Democrats rip Trump for not paying contractors to finish jobs. Will they do the same for Barack? Donald Trump changed city skylines around the world, yet Obama can't even finish a library at a local park? At this rate, Trump will finish his library first. And who knows? Maybe Mexico will pay for it. Have you been to Obama?
It's a great line. And then I started digging into I'm like, you know, like really someone's being sued. The news thing is just crazy. I mean, basically, if you work somewhere, and I'm sure some of you do have jobs like this where shit is like that, you're fucked. And I apologize. You're so screwed. Obama Library begun with lofty DEI goals, now plagued by $40 million in racially charged suit ballooning costs. There's a line down here that I saw. The memo goes on to state that the Thornton Tomsetti, an architectural firm, bent over backwards to assist that everyone knows was a questionably qualified subcontractor team in areas where more qualified subcontractor could not have required. Basically, they're just hiring people based on the color of their skin. The lawsuit also cites a DEI report by the project's construction manager in 2022, which outlines the project as achieving significant diverse business participation. A report breaking down the demographics of those involved in the project. Imagine there's probably someone paid $100,000 a year just to manage, maybe more, fuck, who knows, just to manage to make sure everyone's the right color working on that project. We live in bizarro world. The lawsuit claims that Thornton Tomsetti violated the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and that its allegedly defamatory, discriminatory statements and actions caused Bob McGee and other subcontractors to suffer extremely financial losses and potential bankruptcy. They falsely accused one of the lacking sufficient qualifications and experience to perform its work while stating in the memo that non-minority owned contractors were sufficiently qualified. Look at the cracks in the building already. That can't be good. In a shocking and disheartening turn of events, the African-American owner of a local construction company finds himself and his company on the brink of forced closure because of racial discrimination by the structural engineer. Hey, it serves anyone right who got involved in that project. As soon as you saw that it was going to have DEI as one of the priorities for maintaining a skyscraper, you're doomed. You're doomed. What's the Chosen series on? Prime. It's on Prime. Amazon Prime. There's a documentary that goes along with it. I made it 2 episodes. I don't know if I'm going to make any more. start ruining the show for me. It's got a bunch of woke shit in it. Does anyone in here actually think that the Pope fuck, I don't even know if I should open that door. It was fucking ridiculous. The guy who's the guy who's the main star in The Chosen goes and visits the Pope. It's just ridiculous. It reminds me of like a group of like gay dudes like fainting at a Taylor Swift concert. I was just like, come on, dude. The Pope's lucky he met you. Teresa, no Chosen today, please. No Chosen talk. You want to go back to DEI stuff? I don't really have anything else. I really have some shit I have to do between now and the 11 a.m. show. What is this? Oh, this is a good one. Okay, here you go. This is only interesting because there were the fires in the Palisades, right? Remember those fires in the Palisades? Well, one of the fire captains is now dead. I don't know how he died. Oh, or she. California Fire Captain Rebecca Marodi. That's a she? Okay, here we go.
Do y'all remember this woman? California Fire Captain Rebecca Marodi. Well, during the California wildfires last month, she was in the news quite a bit. One, for the tireless efforts she put forth trying to fight the fires, but also because she was called a DEI hire. Well, she's dead. She was found in her home with multiple stab wounds.
It's kind of nice knowing she's a DEI hire, right? Because you don't want a firefighter to look like that, a fire captain. So at least you know why. So that I kind of take a little bit of solace in that.
And nobody's yet been arrested. Now, here's what we do know. She was off duty at the time of her death, and they believe that the person who did this to her was somebody she knew. They are ruling it as a homicide and saying that it could very much be part of a domestic violence attack. Now, when first responders arrived to the scene, it sounds like she was still alive. They began life-saving measures immediately, but ultimately she succumbed to her wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. I can also tell you that they haven't named a formal suspect at this point in time, but they are looking for her wife, who they've not been able to find, locate, or have heard from. Anyways, this is something that I will try to keep watching, keep you guys up to date on. Make sure to hit that follow button if you don't already. Of course, drop your thoughts about.
How does that guy's hair do that? So they found her dead in her home. They can't find her wife. Stabbed to death. I wonder who replaced her. Suspect. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, Nelly. Oh, her wife's pretty. Oh, man. Her wife's attractive. Ramona, California. Look at her. She got a pretty Mexican lady. Authorities have identified the suspect in the stabbing death of Cal Fire Captain in San Diego County. According to the sheriff office, 53-year-old Yolanda Marodi, also known as Yolanda, oh, she's Polish? Olędziak, is wanted in connection with the death of Rebecca Becky Marodi. Suspect, who was married to Marodi for about 2 years, was sentenced in 2004 to 11 years in prison after she pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter for fatally stabbing her then husband. Oh, shit. Holy shit. This fucking chick, this fire captain married a woman who stabbed her husband to death and did 11 years in jail. 5'2", 166. That's my kind of girl. The sheriff's office has said it's investigating the fire captain's death as a potential domestic violence incident. Hey, if they got there when she was still alive, do you think she was like, my wife did it? My wife did it. Marodi served more than 30 years with CAL FIRE, mainly in Riverside County, starting as a volunteer in Moreno Valley. She's also recently helped battle the Eaton fire. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Dude, she must have had a crazy story. She probably what was also known as Yolanda. Okay. When she met the fire captain, God, I wonder how they met. You think they met online or something? When she met her, she's probably like, I was with this horrible man. I was with this horrible man and I had to kill him. I want to hear the details of her stabbing that guy. She pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter after killing someone in 2000, the LA Times says. Killing someone, it was her husband. How do I find what year did I say she was killed? What year was that? 2003. What if I type in 2003? That's the problem with Google. Everything's just like, it's just all recent shit. How many pages back do I have to go before I find an article from 2003? Oh no, that's 2023. Now I'm on page 3 of Google. I wonder what the husband's name was. I bet you if I Googled his name, I'd find it. Page 5, there's nothing. Type in murder. What if I type in murder? I don't really know how to Google so good. Go to news stories. Oh, there's nothing. Just stops at one page. Man. I don't think I don't know. Don't marry a murderer. So did the dead girl know she married a murderer? I mean, I assume, dude. Hey, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if she met her if she was in prison. She went to jail for 11 years. From 2003 to 2014. And she's married. It sounds like she was married to this fire captain. She had the same last name. Excuse me. Is anyone here married to a murderer? Someone send me a link. I want to find that story. Once a stabber, always a stabber. The one thing in that video that I sent you guys a link to, that Jesus video, and my sister tried to tell me this too, that Jesus was innocent when they killed him. And I'm like, what do you mean? They told him he was breaking the law. So many times they told him to stop fucking around. Jesus was, oh, you're not going to like this. Jesus was the first fuck around and find out guy. Marrying her, she knew this was a possibility. Yeah. Only 11 years for murder? How is that possible? Yeah. When the phone rings like that, you know something's wrong with my roadcaster. Why is the roadcaster like this? Does anyone else use a roadcaster? Can anyone else just be like, hey, dude, you're using it wrong? Mine always disconnects. It's every call I have to reset it up. Caller, hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you here to defend Jesus?
No, I'm here to talk about this construction stuff.
Oh yeah, tell me.
So I'm in the commercial construction business. And
I'm going to ask you this really quick. Who are the best workers? Like just stereotypically speaking, who are the best workers on a construction site? The yellow, the browns, the blacks, or the whites? Who are the hardest workers?
I would say the browns and the whites.
Okay. All right. I would have guessed
not
the yellows.
You don't see a lot of them.
They probably take a lot of smoke breaks. I bet you they take a lot of smoke breaks.
Well, like the DEI stuff, I can tell you, this has been going on for years. If you're a minority contractor, you basically just get work handed to you. But the secret is most of the time they're not performing any of the work. They're just a pass through. So they'll come underneath a qualified, experienced contractor,
Yeah.
and they do most of the work. And then there's usually a black guy that is or a black woman that is the president of the company, and they have maybe 2 or 3 employees, and then it's just a pass through.
So it's just a game. People have learned to game the system. They're smart people with dark skin. It's all a game.
It's all a game. That's it. They're not. It has nothing to do. They're the minorities. It's helping. The people who own the company. The minority person that owns the company is who it's helping, and they're getting rich just because of the color of their skin.
I have a buddy who works at a huge public facility that employs tens of thousands of people. And he says that they have a guideline of the order if they subcontract anything, which they're always doing, whether it be for porta potties or anything. And he says they have an order in which they have to look for people to subcontract. And it is like that. It's like lesbian women, gays, then blacks, and women, and then finally it's and they don't even say white people. It just says, and if you can't find anyone going down that list, then you can choose whoever you want.
Correct. They'll be the projects will specify before you have to have 30% of your this scope has to be minority. So if it's it's your all the drywall, metal studs, the interior finishes, they'll say before the project bids you have to have 30 to 40% of that has to be minority. So you'll have these bigger qualified drywall contractors that team up with the minority contractor, and they come in and bid the project, and then they pass through 30%, 40% of the project through the minority contractor. The minority contractor is really doing no work. They're just getting a fee. Usually it's anywhere from 10 to 20%. So that ends up costing the owner more money. And then they're just collecting their fee, and they're not doing any of the work.
God, that sucks. Can you imagine? That sucks for black people too, because basically it just puts a target on all their backs as being incompetent. I mean, I'm like that. Every single person I see who's not a white dude, I don't care. If I see a woman doing anything, I'm like, were they hired because they're a woman? I was never like that a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like you said, it's a disservice to the, because now there's a stereotype. Well, okay, if you hire, the black guy, if you hire his firm, so he's going to have to team with this other, qualified contractor in order to even be a part of the project. And he has, it's bad for everybody all around. It costs more money, slows projects down, and it's all just so you can say, yeah, I had minority participation.
Look, someone in the comments wrote, I have to go meet with my DEI hire right now. She's black and top-notch worker. Yeah, that's what's crazy. I was talking to one of my friends the other day who's a black guy who is one of the highest performers at his workplace. But he even said, yeah, I was hired as DEI, and it's just complete bullshit. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I lost you. Hold on. My roadcaster disconnected you. Go ahead. Hello? Sorry, I lost you. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you're back. Okay, say that again.
Hello? Okay. I said it's a disservice because if you hire a black person and they're really qualified and they kick butt, everybody's looking at them like, oh, you were just hired because you're DEI.
Right. Well, it's been
just
pumped.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's just been pumped into us. I hope that goes away. I think it can go away. I think it will go away. I think it'll go away.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope it does too.
Yeah. I think it'll go away. I think eventually it'll just be like everyone's competent again, or not everyone, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. If you're competent, you'll get the job.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter what the color of your skin is.
What percentage of people on a project is illegal? Illegal migrants.
Well, on the commercial side, you don't see as much. On the residential side is where you'll see that. The drywall, the guys who hang all the drywall, finish all the drywall.
Yeah.
That's where you see most of the illegal labor.
And
but a lot of times
go ahead.
What happens there is you'll have the guy who owns the company he's legal, So everything, all the money flows into his company, and then he pays all of his illegal help however he pays him, whether it's cash, however he does that.
Are those usually, and they find guys who are good? I'm assuming they don't want any shit bags. I'm assuming they weed out all the shit bags.
Yeah, most of the guys are pretty good as far as in the residential area. Those guys, I mean, they work their butts off, and that, you know, they're good at what they do. They, you know, you can take a 6,000 square foot house, which is a ton of drywall, and you go in there and there'll be 12 dudes in there, and they'll have all the drywall hung in 2 days.
And those are all dudes.
And then
Those
they'll
are
come
all
back
and those are all young men who came here illegally, who are just busting their ass and happy to have a job.
right. And I'm not saying they're all illegal.
No,
But,
I know, but specifically speaking of the illegal ones. Yeah, I mean, I've been on housing construction sites where it's like there's 40 dudes there and not one of them speaks English, but also they look
Right.
like they look like they're cracking. Like you know, they're going. I don't see any dudes sitting around smoking cigarettes or fucking around.
There's usually one guy that speaks English, because he's got a, you know, you have the guys who are the general contractors, you know, have to tell them what to do, and then he has to tell all the other guys what to do.
Hey, someone was telling me that with all these crackdowns and tariffs, that now's the time to buy a house, because it's going to get really expensive to buy a house, because there's going to be a spike in construction costs and labor for a couple years. Do you think that's true?
I don't know. I mean, the tariff thing, we've been through this before, you know, and I do most of my stuff is on the commercial side, so we do a lot with metal studs.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, I've been through this before. The tariff thing doesn't usually affect anything. The metal manufacturers will use that as an excuse to get a price increase, you know, but if the demand isn't there, the price increase isn't gonna, you know, it's not gonna hold. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not worried about it.
The price of wood skyrocketed under Biden, like skyrocketed.
Well, I mean, if you go back and you look at in 2020 when COVID happened,
yeah,
and then 2021 when Biden took office, metal prices went up probably 400% in 6 months, which was, I mean, it was chaos. And I don't see any of that happening. So
that's what happened to that's what happened to wood at Home Depot. You know what I mean? Like plywood went from like $16 a sheet to like $80 a sheet.
Yeah, your lumber.
Like, what the fuck?
Your metal prices went up, lumber prices went up, drywall prices went up, everything went up.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you print, you know.
You ever been at a construction site and like you accidentally kick over a cup of coffee and you look down, it's in the image of the Virgin Mary?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Just trying to tie in a little religious component here. All right.
Hey, Savon, I'm in the comments all the time. You're close, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
You're close.
Okay.
The Holy Spirit's pulling on you.
Hey, dude, I'm not fucking around. Every night I go to bed, like Yahweh, Holy Spirit, hook me up.
Yahweh.
I'm here.
I was in the car. I told you, my kids, when they were in second grade, they had to memorize the Sermon on the Mount.
Oh,
yeah. Say it in front of all,
dude.
Yeah, say it in front of all the parents.
Dude,
that's so awesome. I have it on video. I'll send it to you.
Dude, please send it to me. Hey, dude, I'm not going to lie to you. That stuck with me when you said that. That kicked me in the balls. I was like, man, I am a pussy if I don't remember it.
Second grade, man.
Yeah, that's
both
genius.
of them. So
that's
I have a 17-year-old and 15-year-old. They can, but the crazy thing is they can both still recite it to this day.
God, what a great gift you gave them. All the rules are in that thing. That's why when I heard it, when I heard that thing, I was like, oh, there's all the rules. Like, I just, you know what I mean? You know how like they say CrossFit resonates with people because it's the truth. And it's like, yeah, you read the Sermon on the Mount and you're like, yeah. I mean, half of it's like pointing directly through paradoxes directly at God. And it's like, okay, you can see it. The other half, I don't understand.
Yeah, the gospel's supposed to convict you. It's supposed to turn something inside of you a different way.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your support.
Hey, you bet. Just keep going, man.
Yeah, every day.
Keep going.
All right. You know what I told God last night? Are you still there?
What's that?
I'm like,
Yep.
hey, dude, whatever you do, like, don't fuck around and like give me any crazy hardship. You know what I mean? Like, don't like make me lose a leg or something to have to find you. Like, I'll take the like. Be cool.
Hey,
You know
go
what I
read the
mean?
book of Job.
I read Job.
Go read the book.
I read Job in
Yeah.
high school. Yeah, I told him I don't need that. Be cool. I'm patient. I'm working on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, show me like through a cup of coffee or have my dog talk to me or something. Please, no, I don't need
I
any
always,
crazy shit.
Whenever my kids start complaining about stuff, I always tell them, hey, let's revisit the book of Job.
I loved Job as a kid. I thought it was awesome. We read it my sophomore year in English class, and then the teacher had us act it out. And I remember him saying, hey, we're not supposed to do this in public school. Mr. Hager, he's like one of the few good teachers I had. He gave me all D's, but I loved him. And he was a dick, but I still loved him. And he's like, I don't care if you guys report me. We're going to read Job, and then we're all going to take a role and act it out. And I thought I loved that.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, buddy, I'll keep praying for you, Savon.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Keep trucking along, man.
All right. Keep being a good dad. I appreciate you, dude.
Hey, yeah, I love your dad stuff too, man.
Thank you.
You're doing good. That's what we got to do as dads. We got to be good dads.
Yeah, it's so easy if
Our
you
kids-
make good kids.
Our kids' future depends on it.
Yep.
So,
All right.
thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye. You want a little Koran talk, Seema? Feeling left out? Want a little Koran? When 75-mile-an-hour winds smoked our house in 2022. Wow. 35 to 40 Mexicans completely re-roofed, resided with 3 different decorative peaks near windows. Yeah. All my Mexican friends in high school, they were like all the hardest workers after the Armenians. All of us who had immigrant parents, man. All my friends were hard workers. I was a hard worker. All our parents were hard workers. Yeah, one of my closest friends, his parents had a couple Mexican restaurants. Man, those people, all they did was work. I loved them. All right. How could you not think that was funny when I asked Jorge about Seema? How could you not think that was funny when I asked Jorge about God? My dad doesn't even believe in the Koran. We're Zoroastrian. Okay, send me something in my DMs. Find a reel that explains what that is in 60 seconds. Thank you. I can't wait till you guys see Jake's logo. He's so proud of it for his podcast. It's so fucking European. God damn. It's like Zoolander shit. I can't wait till you guys see it. What if the podcast start dueling? Is it a penis? No, dude, it's European. It's more like a vagina. All right. I'm going to go. I'm going to be back at 11 with Rich. That'll be fun. Rich is great. I'm going to go chill for a little bit. I don't know what's going on with my life today. I'm leaving again. I'm going to be on the road the entire open. It's going to be weird. Maybe I'll sweat and I'm going to try, Barry, I'm going to try maybe I'll sweat and do some deadlifts now before my 11 a.m. show. Maybe I'll take my boys out. My boys are kind of screwed today because I have so many podcasts. I want to do a CrossFit Games update show. Your arms look huge at that angle. I'm telling you, do you want to know what's crazy? I ordered 4 bottles from TDC Mercantile of the chili oil. It's so good. I'm going to tell you this again. I'm going to make a video. Take a clamshell of arugula, even if you hate arugula, 4 tablespoons of just plain whole fat yogurt, salt, and Dave Castro's chili oil. Circle it all up. It is so good. What the yogurt makes it very like refreshing, and it clumps all the arugula up together, so you don't have to, you don't have to fight with it when you eat it with the fork. Anyway, I ordered 4 bottles of that shit, and he sends me 2 T-shirts in the box with it. And first of all, it comes wrapped like crazy. It's like you have to like dedicate 5 or 10 minutes to unwrap all the shit, all take all the wrapping off. And then it comes, and there's 2 T-shirts in there, and one's a medium and one's a small. It's like, dude, I am a small or a medium. I am thick. I'm like SpongeBob. I don't even know what to do with them. Good morning, Sabir. The first 40 minutes of the show are a message to you, Sabir. Don't you dare try coming into the country. You're large at least. Thank you. My tits are sore. I was bench pressing 135 for sets of 10. Dave should know better. You're an extra small. Okay. I'll see you guys at 11 a.m. with Rich Froney. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Sabir, sorry you missed the show. Bye-bye.